Hey, Rhino guys, got a kind of a special one for you today. We got a couple guys on here. One is Andy Squeezits. I think the whole world knows him as Squeeze. He runs our Wisconsin program. One of the best baseball knowledgeable guys that I know that I've been around, and really, I mean, the kids absolutely love him. And he's been awesome in the program, been with us for a number of years now, and does a really great job up there. And then we also got Danny Jansen here. So Danny is the starting catcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. Danny does a lot of training out of our Wisconsin facility. He was a 2013 high school grad, was committed to play college ball at Jacksonville, ended up getting drafted out of high school in the 16th round, and signed with the Blue Jays instead. And he's a catcher, 6'2", 230 pounds or so. Out of high school, he was ranked number 2 in the state of Wisconsin by PBR. Last year for the Blue Jays, he had 13 home runs, 12 doubles, somehow legged out a triple. He attempted one steal, and I think was thrown out on that one.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So one, Danny, thanks for doing this, man. I really appreciate it. I know you've been a really amazing presence up at the Wisconsin facility, and I know that for a lot of our guys up there, being able to look up to you is really truly special for those guys. So that's awesome of you, and I appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Privileged to have met Squeeze and worked out there a couple off seasons and meeting all the guys along the way. So that's an awesome facility. It's one of the best around, that's for sure.
No, we appreciate it. Let's get rolling with these questions. I think it's really important for our players, especially younger players that may not really understand what's going on right now, that they know that they're not really the only ones being affected by this. And I wanted to get you on here to kind of show them, like, hey, even starting catchers in the big leagues are being affected by this right now. How are you kind of dealing with this, and how are you kind of going about handling it all, and also kind of keeping yourself in shape and ready to roll when it starts up?
Yeah, for sure. It's a difficult thing because every day there's more information, but it's just not quite enough to know when to get started. And so I'm safe. It's safe to say, mentality wise, I'm not really checked in as much right now because we don't have anything going forward. For at least a month or 2 months. So
Sure.
physically is a huge thing. Staying in physical shape, and obviously it's tough to do. Staying away from public places. So I'm fortunate enough to be living in a place in Florida right now that has a little gym and I think even if you don't have that, you're able to do some things, whether it's core work or whatever, inside the house. So, but I know for one, staying healthy is a big thing. It's the most important thing right now. So, you do what you can, be inside. Obviously everybody's talking about social distancing, which is huge, and just try to do the best you can right now. The whole world's in the same boat, I feel. Especially athletes. Everybody feels like it's a nightmare still, and it really still does. So, just do what you can.
Yeah, we're trying to really push on our players that, just because we're maybe shut down here for 2 weeks, a month, that one, it shouldn't affect their game too much because they have the ability to do things. We're sending things out to them, but also, you know, um, kids are athletes, man. They're going to be just fine as long as they continue to keep working. It's not going to affect their long term game as much as sometimes I think they will. And I know everyone's going stir crazy right now, and I know as coaches and Squeeze, I'm sure you can attest to this. You're probably going crazy too, wanting to get back in the facility.
Yeah, for me
Yeah.
personally, it's been pretty different. I would say, man, I think it's the longest I've ever gone really without doing something physically with baseball, and it's been a challenge for sure.
All right. So when you're a kid, pretty crazy, but your family actually hosted players for the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, and Adam Jones, who's a longtime MLB player and I think a numerous time All Star, actually lived with you when you were younger. How was that, having a potential and soon to be MLB guy living with you kind of when you were younger, and being able to pick his brain and just seeing kind of what he did on a daily basis?
Yeah, it was cool, man. I was very fortunate to have that as a kid. I have an older brother as it is. His name's Matt. He's 7 years older than me, and he's one of my, he's a guy I look up to, a role model of mine. And then you get all these other guys that were just kind of like older brothers as well that came in for the summer. So, um, Adam was definitely a specimen. Being like a first round, sixth overall pick, I think like that. But he's a shortstop when he came in, and he was a real cool dude, man. But he was closer with my brother. I was 9 at the time, so he was just an older brother to me, and I lived at that ballpark all the time, going
Yeah.
to every game.
Yeah.
And we were just baseball rats at home, so we loved it. And we'd go and play wiffle ball in the backyard with them, play some video games with them. But I was a lot younger. I didn't really get the whole aspect of like thinking about what daily basis was and the grind was. I had no idea. So, but the day that 14 years later, we're playing against each other in the big leagues, and we lost contact. My brother kept in contact pretty much, but I never really had it with him. And then I saw him before BP one day, and when we played the Orioles, and he gave me a hug, said he was proud of me, and then during the game, he crushed me on the chest and said, "Proud of you, kid." And that was pretty surreal. That was an awesome moment.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's
Wow.
really cool here. What speaking of when you were younger, kind of in high school, I guess. What do you think kind of separated yourself, maybe from others? Just wide range of things, whether that be baseball ability, kind of work ethic. Really, what kind of made you stand out over others that you think helped you get to kind of this point that you're currently at?
I think it was just the drive. I think it was the drive to be, the best baseball player I could be and the best person. And I get that from my brother and my dad. And they're, my brother's a baseball coach now in Missouri. My dad, he was a catcher for a long time in Chicago, and he was my brother's coach and my coach. So we just always had that passion and that drive. And I was fortunate enough to have a batting cage in my backyard, so I was always able to get some work in if I needed it. And yeah, I think the work ethic came from them too. And being rough in the pool, my brother being 7 years older and playing with his friends and wiffle ball, and always being the younger brother, 7 years apart from everybody, and just trying to compete. So I think that also gave me a little competitive edge. Always just trying to compete with my older brother and his friends.
Yeah, we always talk about it. I'm sure Squeeze too. You see this with your players up in Wisconsin, is like guys that are younger brothers always seem like they're ahead of the game. They're ahead of the curve just because they're always around it and they're competing and they're challenging themselves. It's not just about putting something on a tee and letting them hit it. Like they're literally trying to catch up to their older brothers and
Oh
siblings,
yeah.
and they're always one step ahead of the game. Do you see that out of your guys too, Squeeze?
Yeah, for sure. Especially in the facility when the brothers are in there working with dad or mom or whoever, and the little ones are always trying to keep up with the older ones, always trying to be better than them. And I think it pushes the younger ones for sure, but it keeps the older dudes on their toes too.
But
Keep on working.
But I think that goes to show the type of training where guys need to get out of their comfort zone a little bit. They need to get challenged. It's not always about the success of it. Sometimes it's about the failure and trying to accomplish something, and you're going to fail along the way on some of that stuff. And I think that's why you see younger brothers sometimes just be more athletic, because they are challenged and they see the failure and they have to kind of continue to compete.
Yeah, you got to embrace it too. You got to embrace the challenge. You know what I mean? Of always trying to compete and catch up. You got to embrace it.
Yeah, sure.